Hi there, I'm Zara Fagan, PhD. I'm the author of Minimalist Homeschooling, and I want to talk to you today about our different options when we are first starting to homeschool. And so there are a range of options that I like to say start at the most done for you option, all the way to the most a la carte option when you're choosing your homeschool curriculum and how you want your homeschool to operate and how you want it to feel. And so first I want to sort of go through these options, and then I want to highlight sort of the benefits and the trade-offs for going on one end of the spectrum versus another end of the spectrum. So first of all, this video is being made in response to a lot of questions that I've seen in my Facebook group and a lot of questions that I've seen from my own personal friends who are considering what they're going to do this fall, and in general to the sense of overwhelm that I'm perceiving from people who are just starting and not sure how exactly they should even approach designing their homeschool. So let's start with the most done for you options. These are going to be your e-learning options, whether you're signing up for an online school or you're going through your school's own e-learning program. That is technically school at home, which is very different from homeschooling. So school at home is going to be everything is dictated to you, including when you need to get things done, what exactly you're going to do. Somebody else is determining the grade on those items. Somebody else is determining the pace. Somebody else is determining which resources are going to be used. And somebody else is determining exactly what is going to be learned. And then as we move through the spectrum, then you sort of can do the all-in-one curriculum option. And there are many choices within this category. So the all-in-one curriculum would mean that you go to a certain vendor's website, you basically choose a grade for your child, and they will send you a complete curriculum for that entire grade for all of the subjects. So you would expect maybe your handwriting, your language arts, maybe science, maybe history, depending on the particular vendor that you choose. They are going to bundle together what they believe should be learned at that age and that grade, and they're going to send it all to you. And a lot of times these all-in-one curricula will also include like lesson plans for you. So it would literally script out, here's exactly what you're going to do on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and on for the whole school year. So again, this is a very done for you option, but now you have a little bit more control over what style you may want it to feel like, and sort of what emphasis you would like. There are secular options, there are religious options. Those sorts of things can start to come into play when you're choosing an all-in-one curriculum. Then we go from there, and there are a lot of homeschoolers who start out by using sort of state standards, or there are a couple of books that I'm going to link to that will spell out what is typically learned in each grade. Or you can go to your Department of Education's website, and see what the state standards are. Most states will list by grade and subject sort of a scope and sequence for that particular year and that particular subject. They may highlight exactly what standards they are expected to meet in the schools, or that they recommend that the schools meet. These are not requirements, these are recommendations. So a lot of homeschoolers will choose that option where they're sort of following either from a book resource, and again, look in the comments here for the link for that, or they're going just to the website to get the state standards, and they're using that as a sort of checklist. And then what they're doing is they're finding the best ways to teach each of the things on that list. So this is more of an a la carte version where they're using sort of an outline that is determined by somebody else, but they are determining how exactly they are going to accomplish that in their particular homeschool. Then you have the complete choose your own adventure types, like what I like to call choose your own adventure homeschooling, where they are, de novo from a blank slate, deciding what they want for their children, and they're getting it done, right? So they're creating basically their own checklist of what's important to their children right now and how they're going to get it done. And so if you are away from e-learning, right? You've decided not to e-learn, you've decided not to do an online remote school program, and you want to homeschool, then you have a variety of options there. And there are some benefits to going more a la carte or to go more done for you. And the main advantage for using a done for you curriculum is that there's a certain level of security and confidence and comfort from knowing that somebody else has put it all together for you and you can sit down and implement it in your home. So that goes a long way. And while a lot of veteran homeschoolers will often recommend that new homeschoolers jump straight to being more a la carte in their homeschools, I'll admit I started with a checklist from our state. Right? That's where I jumped in. And so there's an appropriate place for each homeschooler where they're going to feel most comfortable jumping in. And then once you get started, then you'll get a better feel for what's working for your children, what's working for you as a parent teacher, what's not working. You can tweak, you can adjust, you can make changes as you go through this journey of homeschooling. So nothing is sort of permanent. I would encourage you to jump in wherever you're going to feel most comfortable and wherever you're going to feel most satisfied, which brings me to my next point. The converse of all that comfort and security and sort of confidence that you get from somebody else picking it out is that you may sacrifice some enjoyment, some love of learning. It may not be the easiest thing to implement because when you are choosing your own adventure, whether that means doing sort of an a la carte, following a checklist, or going completely rogue and making your own checklist, what you can do are several logistical things that make learning that much easier and make teaching that much easier. So for example, first things first, you can combine multiple grades and multiple ages to learn the same topic within a subject. So normally, if you look at e-learning or you look at state standards, you may have second graders. Let's take history, for example. Your second graders may be learning about social studies. Your fourth graders may be learning about states and capitals. Your junior high students are learning about American history, and you've got someone older than that who's working on Middle Ages and Renaissance. And suddenly, as a parent teacher, you're spread very thin because instead of focusing on just one grade, you have to focus on multiple grades. Conversely, when you're choosing your own adventure or you're doing an a la carte thing, you can decide to teach the same topic in history to all children at an age appropriate level. So for example, in the next year, all of my children will be working on American history. That means they're doing it at an age appropriate level. However, if I'm going to be reading a novel out loud, maybe a historical fiction novel, I'm going to choose one that has American history underlying its plot so that it's relevant to everyone. If we go on field trips, they're more likely to be, then I can choose American history related field trips and they will be relevant to everyone. And in that way, I'm spread less thin, right? We can focus on American history, and maybe my oldest children will be writing essays and my youngest kids won't. They'll be maybe learning the Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry. Well, they'll be learning maybe the Pledge of Allegiance. But the idea here is that we're all focused on the same thing, and that streamlines our homeschool. And you can do the same thing in science. Instead of covering all different science topics for all the different children you have in your home, 2, 3, 4, 5 children, now you can choose maybe to focus on physics, or maybe focus on chemistry, or maybe focus on plant biology. And that means that the experiments and the projects and the things that you do together as a family are applicable now to everyone instead of having to touch on so many different topics in the same year. Okay, so the next thing that's beneficial about doing more of an a la carte option is that we have asynchronous learners, which means we have kids who may be advanced in math, but not advanced when it comes to reading comprehension, or vice versa. You may have kids who absolutely love science, and you may have children who have no interest in science. You may be the type of person where you want your kids to be exposed to science at a young age, or you may be the type of person who feels like science can wait till middle school or high school because they really don't remember that much from elementary school. And everything they would have learned in elementary school, they can learn really quickly when they're middle school or high school age. And so you get to make those sorts of decisions when you are using an a la carte version, when you are sort of picking and choosing what's best for each child based on where they are and what is best for them. Maybe you need to go a grade down for language arts. Maybe you need to go a grade up for language arts. Those sorts of decisions can be made when you step away from an all-in-one curriculum. Next is teaching styles vary from child to child as far as their learning styles and therefore how you want to teach it. So some kids may prefer to read things. Some kids may prefer to have it read out loud to them. Some kids may prefer projects and those sorts of things. And that's the type of learning that's going to really resonate with them. And so when you are picking and choosing how you are going to meet the goals of your particular checklist, you can also choose a curriculum for each individual subject that's going to be most appropriate for that particular child within your family, how much time you have available, how hands-on you are able to be. All of those sorts of criteria become able to influence your decisions when you go with an a la carte version. You can find something that is more of a perfect individualized fit, not only for your child, but also your family dynamics. And then finally, when you go more a la carte, you can go at your child's own pace. So once they master something, they move on. It may take them longer to master something, or they may master it really quickly. Conversely, if you buy an all-in-one curriculum with lesson plans laid out, if your child has already learned something, but the curriculum stays on it for another 2 weeks, or maybe you're discussing Native Americans and your child is over it, they're completely bored, they're tired of learning about it, but the curriculum dictates that you have, 2 more papers to write and another project to do. A lot of homeschoolers then feel bound and obligated to do those things, even though it doesn't suit the child's pace, right, and their attention span. So those are some things to consider when you're deciding where you want to jump into this homeschooling journey, or maybe you're ready, you've been homeschooling for a while and you want to jump one way or the other depending on the needs that your family has right now during your homeschooling journey. And it's okay to fluctuate along that spectrum of done for you all the way down to choose your own adventure. So let me know your questions. Tell me in the comments below, and maybe it will become a next video for you on the Zara PhD channel. In the meantime, I do have a blog, www.zaraphd.com. I'm on Instagram as Zara PhD. I have a Facebook community called Minimalist Homeschooling with Zara PhD, and I would love to see more of you at any of those places. Until then, I'm wishing you all the simple things. Bye, guys.